On New Year's Eve 1975, 3 years after the scribing had been completed, Helen Schuckman received a special message from Jesus about the future of A Course in Miracles. He spoke of the course growing from infancy into a helper of the world, and went on to say, "I will direct its growth from the paper on which it was written into the hearts for which it was intended." In the 45 years since this message was received, the course has gone on to reach the hearts of many, and it's just getting started. With the decline of traditional church and the rise of personal spirituality, the gifts of the course are being discovered by an ever-increasing number of students who are drawn to its core teachings of unconditional love. As this trend continues, we can picture A Course in Miracles one day gaining enough authority to stand alongside the ancient scriptures of the world's religions. Imagine a time when you walk into your local bookstore and see an entire section devoted to the course, when a candidate running for office can stand on its principles without being labeled as fringe, and when stories about the course like the one that appeared in the New York Times last fall aren't being passed around in amazement that such a thing could happen. And from this, imagine a time when a global network of course-based teaching ministries, study groups, centers, and organizations rise from this path and become more and more interconnected. The Circle has always had its eye on this expanded future for the course. Over the years, Robert has written beautifully about the goal of eventually building an enduring global tradition in which students would be united in walking this path as Jesus intended. In service to this goal, the Circle has, over nearly 30 years, produced an extraordinary collection of resources, including and especially the complete and annotated edition of A Course in Miracles. And yet, what has been missing so far is a more effective vehicle for getting these resources into the hands of students who could benefit from them. As a result, for the past few years, we have felt it's time to remake the Circle on an organizational level. We have realized that if we are going to truly help the course grow into all it's meant to be, we will need to transform the Circle into a well-organized nonprofit capable of serving many thousands of students around the world. To determine how we can best achieve this goal, as well as how to measure our efforts along the way, the Circle's board of directors, along with Robert and me, recently completed a year-long visioning process. Together, we decided that the main areas of concentration for the Circle over the next 2 years will be strengthening our organizational and financial base, significantly grow the community of students in our programs through consistent outreach, publicly addressing major societal and personal issues from a course-based perspective, building a global network of CE groups, and developing a capital campaign to fund an education and retreat center that would also double as the Circle's physical home. What I'd like to do in this video is to provide an overview of what we're doing in each of these areas, and if you feel called to join us, I'd like to invite you to be part of this very important work. The first initiative for the Circle is strengthening our organizational and financial base. It is a real privilege to share the course with the world, but again, to do that well, we know we need to get our own house in order. Right now, this side of the Circle has a lot of momentum. While Robert and I are the only full-time employees, our team has grown to include 4 board members, 5 contractors, and some very dedicated volunteers. The work we do is meaningful, it is fun, and we all share the same commitment to coming together and building an organization that will be here for generations. But whether we succeed tomorrow, of course, depends in large part on what we do today. If the Circle is to live on and help the course reach more hearts for which it's intended, we will need a larger organization, more staff, more volunteers, and more donors. Our goal is to build a solid internal structure that will allow for the Circle's growth. And the most important projects we're working on in this area include deepening our relationships with our donor community through more financial transparency, developing a monthly giving program and frequent communication on how gifts are being used, as well as nurturing teachers, leaders, volunteers, and committee members who are willing to come together to be the arms and the legs of this work in the world. These items are just a start, but they are very important groundwork for the Circle's future. The second initiative is to significantly grow the community of students in our programs through consistent outreach. A Course in Miracles promises that we will experience God's love, holy relationships, joy, and so much more if we just walk the path it gives us. This is why taking students through the course has always been central to the Circle's mission, and why Course Companions has evolved into our main program. Our goal is to grow Course Companions into a community of thousands. We believe the course is here to change the world, and to do that, it needs to be part of the world in a more mainstream way. Currently, our outreach efforts include our magazine, A Better Way, our podcast, Exploring A Course in Miracles, our newsletter, Circle News, and a new video series, A Course in Miracles Shorts. but there are additional projects in the works, including significantly improving our social media presence, beginning an online advertising campaign in Facebook and Instagram, and sharing the course on popular podcasts, blogs, and other media outlets. While we believe these projects will go a long way towards helping the course reach new students, at the very top of our wish list in this category is a Course Companions app. We do not have the funding or the expertise to develop this app at the moment, but we envision an app that would be as functional and as beautiful as our Course Companions membership site. This app would feature the course reading for the day, the commentaries, the classes, the cameos, and practice reminders right on your mobile device. A well-designed app would instantly open up Course Companions to anyone with a smartphone or a tablet, and we hope to begin this project soon. Our third initiative is publicly addressing major societal and personal issues from a course-based perspective. A Course in Miracles teaches unconditional equality and complete courtesy. With so much hatred and suffering all around us, its voice is desperately needed because its message is one of love. For this reason, here at the Circle, we are more proactively sharing Course teachings in response to personal suffering and global crises. Our goal is to be a place where students can turn for support and guidance through difficult times, both individually and collectively. And projects we're committed to in this area include issuing statements from Circle leadership in response to major news events, hosting workshops on course-based approaches to personal issues, and thoughtfully exploring societal issues through our podcast, newsletter, magazine articles. We have made this a priority because we believe the course is far more than just a way to relieve our own fear. It contains the seeds of a thought system that heals, which means it can and should help us bring forth a whole new world. Our fourth initiative is building a global network of CE study groups. One thing we hear often at the Circle is that students are longing for a sense of community. We do our best to provide this in Course Companions while also recognizing that large webinars cannot replace the value and the intimacy of small group work. There is a clear need for study groups, but what we've discovered is that the complexity of the course often prevents many would-be leaders from stepping forward to host them. Therefore, our goal is to offer resources for study groups that will make the process easy from beginning to end. We want to make it easier for groups to come together and go through any volume of the course, and materials that we'll create for this purpose include promotional emails to recruit new members, agendas and discussion guides for each meeting, as well as answers to questions that are likely to come up. In addition to helping the leader in a way that encourages more groups to form, our hope is that offering these resources will enhance the teachings and allow for a better learning environment overall. Currently, we are in the process of developing study guides that will take a group through the text in 1 year, and when this piece is completed, we plan to continue with offerings for the workbook and manual groups. Other projects we're working on in this area include hosting online training this fall. That will be a first step to starting an ongoing study group leader program, and building a website hub for study groups that offers all the resources needed to begin and maintain a group, as well as a directory where students and teachers can find each other. We are very committed to this project, and we would love to support a network of study groups where students are drawn into deeper relationship with the course and with each other. Our fifth and final initiative is developing a capital campaign to fund an education and retreat center that would also double as the Circle's physical home. Given how deeply felt the need for spiritual belonging and community is, it has been a long-held dream at the Circle to have a home where students can come for renewal and connection. This would be a place to study course teachings, experience the practice, and then carry these gifts home to others. The Circle Center has often been pictured as a garden in the desert, a place near Sedona that would serve as a course retreat center, an education center, and our headquarters. We have been picturing this place for years now, daydreaming about it, including the white dome that Helen saw in her own vision of a course center, a gallery that takes you through course history, a nature walk with course quotes along the path, and even a bell that rings as an hourly practice reminder. But I am certainly well ahead of myself here. We are years away from making this happen, and by now you know that we must first get the Circle more structured before we can even consider taking the initial steps towards having an education and retreat center. But within the next 2 years, we do hope to make some progress on this, ideally with the beginnings of a capital campaign. So there you have it. This is the Circle's roadmap for the near future. We recognize these are lofty goals, and we will need far more staff, volunteers, committees, and income than we currently have to achieve them. We also feel that we must achieve them if we are to build an organization worthy of being the home to the complete edition of the course and the students it serves. If you feel moved to support any or all of this mission, we invite you to join us. You can do so by becoming a member of Course Companions, volunteering, making a contribution, or simply praying for the success of our work. This is a big vision. Course students are sitting on something known to relatively few, but something that clearly has the power to change everything for the better. If Helen's special message is right, and the course is destined to become a helper of the world, then what more meaningful purpose could there be than helping it get there? I hope you will consider how you can support the efforts I've outlined here. There is so much to do, and we cannot reach the many hearts for which the course was intended without you.